Babashuaib, the correctional officer, born in Accra, Ghana, a Quranic researcher and a critical thinker based on religion, who does online lectures based on the guidance of the Quran on platforms such as Facebook, YouTube and TikTok since 2018. In Finland, and 13 years, QBE, in Classical Arabic and MSA in Quranic Arabic. The author of the Refertothekoran, which helps every novice to understand the steps towards understanding the Great Quran and the guidance of God in it. Babashuaib, the correctional officer, born in Accra, Ghana, a Quranic researcher and a critical thinker based on religion, who does online lectures based on the guidance of the Quran on platforms such as Facebook, YouTube and TikTok since 2018. In Finland, and 13 years, QBE, in Classical Arabic and MSA in Quranic Arabic. The author of the Refertothekoran, which helps every novice to understand the steps towards understanding the Great Quran and the guidance of God in it.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. Peace be upon you all. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for coming. Kindly share so other people can join us before we start. Thank you very much for coming. Kindly share so other people can join. Yeah. Yes, kindly share so other people can join. Yes, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate your presence, and let me see. For those on TikTok, I see you. Peace be upon you all. For those on Facebook, YouTube, I appreciate your presence. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you all. We have Abdullah Abbas. We have Musa Seidu. We have Turki Al-Mutair. We have LV Gongoli, we have Kudisia, 2Gs, The Realist, Worldwide Talents, Baba Sirunagan Kasalam. Yeah, I see you, 2Gs, I see you. Baba Sirunagan, yeah. Salis, I know you'll be there. Okay, I have to save your question. LV says, I have questions. Yeah, I saved it. Salam Tawfiq Muhammad Ibrahim. Yusuf Sahid, I see you. Abu Thomas, I see you. Salam. I see Amira and Sister Alma Johnson, I see you. Sister Kudisia, I see you. Yeah. Turki Al-Mutar says, I'm new to Islam. You're welcome to the journey. Sheikh Al-Meo. Kudisia says, matching colors. Thank you. I appreciate that. Salis Jimmy, I see you. Salam. Naganka. I have Sister Diana. Salam. We have Ashley Pollock, and then thank you all for coming. I appreciate your presence. Those on Facebook, on YouTube, Abdul Rashid Bansi, thank you all for coming. For those on TikTok, let me see. I have Afala Takilun. I have Suleiman. I have Hamid Salis. Yeah. I have 7 layers. Yes. I have, let me see. Yes, thank you all for coming. Kindly share so other people can join. Let's have some discussion here. Yeah. Let me see. Yes. Thank you for coming. The new ones, old ones, thank you. Naskoba says, I really like you so much. I like you too. I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Senu Abdul Hakim, salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Same to you, salam. Thank you all. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for the support as well. Thank you for your presence. It keeps me going so that I can keep doing this the more for you to enjoy, inshallah. So today's program. Hey, Bilal Jibril, I see you. Where? I see you. Love you, bro. Thank you all. Deku AD says, what is the original name of Palestine? That is not in the Quran. However, if you go to the Bible, they have Philistine, right? You can check it up. Yes. Sheikh Almeo says, your mic looks very nice, Marshall. Thank you. So let's move on. So this is my way. I invite to Allah by perception, I and whoever follows me, and glory be to Allah, for I am not among the idolaters, right? Thank you all for coming. Aziz Sanusi, Kodo Mapata says, Salam Baba, miss you. Yeah, miss you too, bro. Yeah. Okay. So today is more of a question and answer section, right? Which I normally have a series on this, right? If you go to my YouTube channel, Bush2G9 or Correctional Officer, I have the section where I have the question and answer sections that I normally do the program and give the chance for question. However, about 2 weeks, to now, I have been doing, certain programs which is based on the scholars about some of the lies and how they, the deception they use against people. Yes, Abbas, yes, there is me, correctional officer. Thank you for coming. So Prince Abdul, you're welcome. So it's going to be based around question and answer section. And for all who have watched my last lecture concerning the media, how the media lie to us, the speculations concerning the Israel-Hamas war. And remember, Ukraine-Russia war is still ongoing, right? It has not ended. But you can see, because media controls the narrative, so they shift the attention one side to somewhere else, right? So be careful of how media controls our mindset, and then let us choose a particular side to support, right? Some fights sometimes are not actually for the sake of God. Sometimes some fights are politically motivated, but then you might be taking the wrong side, taking, oh, because he's a Muslim doing this, so you support it. But remember, if you're bearing witness or taking sides, make sure you are supporting the truth and not just because somebody is your brother or somebody is your enemy. You understand? So let's be cautious of this thing, because the media can actually make you strike people out of ignorance without actually knowing the right side to choose. So if you haven't watched that lecture, kindly find it on my YouTube channel. Go to my live lectures of my playlist, find live lectures. You'll find all these lectures pertaining to this issue, right? Yes. So for those who you have your questions, right? Salam, Sister Kaiser, Zainab. I see you. For those who have their questions now, don't ask me your questions yet, right? We have we have those who have done the pre-order, like they pre-ordered by pre-sending their questions forth. So I have to deal with that. Then I'll come to those asking today, right? So please bear with me. I'm bookmarking your questions. So it's not like I'm avoiding your questions, but let me deal with people who took their extra time to actually send me the questions beforehand, right? That's why I'm here. And for those on TikTok, if you have questions, I will advise kindly hold up to your questions. When it's time for question and answer, then you can ask me, right? Because on TikTok, if you ask me the question now, I might not be able to pin it or save it for later reference, right? So it will be difficult unless you repeat it later on. So salam, all of you, and thank you once again. So let's go to the first question I was asked, right? So the first question I was asked is there anything called sunnah? Is there anything called sunnah? Right? For example, wudu. When they say wudu, they are talking about the ablution, right? You don't find the word wudu in the Quran. The word wudu is not in the Quran. However, people gave it the name, right? Far from what Quran says, just like the word aqidah. The word aqidah is not in the Quran, right? But however, when somebody asks you aqidah, it's just like asking you your millah, your creed, right? The creed, the system of belief you follow. So the system of belief we follow is the millata Ibrahim Hanifa wa ma kana min al mushrikeen. We follow the creed of Abraham, the Orthodox, right? So he was a Muslim, an Orthodox Muslim. That is Hanifa, a truthful, up to standard. That is the creed we follow. But then same goes with the issue of the sunnah. They will mention the word sunnah, and then they will go to the extent to say sunnah to nabi, the sunnah of the prophet. Yet we don't find the word in the Quran, such a word saying sunnah of the prophet. Just like sometimes these sectarians will be using words such as by saying, I give an example. Sometimes these sectarians will be using words like, let's take the word wudu. Well, the word wudu is not in the Quran. The word aqidah is not in the Quran. The word sunnatun nabi is not in the Quran. The word holy prophet is not in the Quran. Yes, the word holy prophet, even in Arabic language, you will never ever see the words saying Nabiul Quddus or Nabiul Muqaddas, or understand, holy prophet. It doesn't exist. You will never ever see where it says, like, for instance, Sunnah to Muhammad, Sunnah of Muhammad. It doesn't exist in the Quran. So people would like to give it a name. People would like to name something which God hasn't actually attributed. So let me give you an example. For instance, the issue of adopted children, right? For the adopted children, God says you should call the adopted children by their fathers, meaning by their father's name. You should call them. And that is why people bear the surnames of their fathers, right? So the surnames are from their fathers. So you should call them by their fathers, right? But when you adopt a child, usually you give it your own name. You give the child your name, right? But biologically, we know it's not your child, even though you adopted the child, because the moment you give the child your name, you confuse the people to actually believe that that is your biological child, which is not the case. So you see, it is we the people who actually tag this and give these titles, but that is not what God actually acknowledged or approved as, the reality. So same goes with the issue or notions that when people are trying to formulate things which are not approved by God, in order to simplify this argument, just ask these people, where does God say this is this? Right? So let's go back to the word. So the question the person was asking, is there anything called sunnah? Yes, there is something called sunnah, but not the sunnah that you think is called sunnah. So it's not sunnah to Nabi, there is no sunnah to Muhammad, there is no sunnah to Rasulullah in the Quran. It is sunnatullah. That is the sunnah of God that we have to follow, right? So that is the one God has ordained. Quran chapter 33, verse 38. Even what the prophet is ordained to follow is based on sunnatullah. It is not the sunnatul Nabi. So understand the difference. And however, the mushriks will sometimes, when I say the mushriks, we know them, the sectarians, those who differentiate their religions and give themselves and they are proud of what they have. They are the mushriks. Now, the mushriks, they will say, how do you do your wudu? Wudu is not in the Quran. Yes, we agree. Wudu is not in the Quran. The word wudu is not in the Quran. The way they do their wudu is not in the Quran. We agree. What we find in the Quran, God calls it the ghusl. When we say ghusl, it's like wash, to wash, to wash, right? So this wash, ghusl, is found in the Quran, chapter 5, verse 6, where God says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu iza kuntum ila salat fagusuluhum wujuhakum wa aydiyakum ila al-marafiq wa umsahu bi ru'usikum wa arjulakum ila al-ka'bayn. Now, chapter 5, verse 6, this is what we call ghusl. It is the washing, but however, people outside will tag this washing as ablution. And ablution, you bring it in Arabic, it becomes wudu, and that is the modern Arabic. They will tag it as wudu. So do you see the understanding there? So by going with the logic of the outsider, if he says, do you have wudu in the Quran? From his understanding, you can say, yes, we have. But it doesn't mean the word wudu or God mentions it to be wudu in the Quran. That is the point. Just like a lot of people will call the salat, they will say, oh, the salat, the prayer is namaz. Namaz normally is based in Urdu, right? For people who understand Urdu. And this has been so popularized that people think when you say namaz, we are not talking about the same thing, but however, it's just a translation or a certain perspective of the word salat. So the first thing is saying, for example, wudu, does wudu has a sunnah and farad, like this type of things? So many a times you hear the mainstream sectarians telling you that when we say there's wudu which is farad and there's the wudu which is sunnah, these classifications are not found in the Quran. It is not God who classified it as sunnah and this is farad. For instance, the word farad is to obligate, right? Farad is an obligation that the ones you are being obligated to do. And then with the word sunnah is something which is a norm, like a tradition, like a pattern that you have to follow. So these issues that people are talking about, and then they say, oh, there is the wudu which is farad and the one which is sunnah. They are trying to say the one you find in the Quran is farad, meaning obligated by God, whilst the one they are adding up to what God says is called sunnah. So according to their logic, it means when God commanded the prophet decided to add his own sunnah, and that is why they keep saying follow the sunnah of the prophet out of their foolishness, because in the first place the prophet will not do what God hasn't commanded him, and if God has commanded him sunnatullah, we should find it in the Quran. Do you understand the logic? Yes. So 7 layers says Farsi. Yes. Persians, Farsi. Yeah. Okay. So that is the first question. If the person is watching, understand, yeah, Salam Abdul Samad, understand that there is no such thing as sunnah to Muhammad or sunnah to Nabi or sunnah to Rasulullah. He himself doesn't have his own sunnah. Whatever he has to do is what God has ordained. So if it is not from God, then it's not part of Islam. Sister Sophie, I have a video on it about the ghusl. It's on my YouTube channel. You go to the Salat tutorial. I think I have it. Or the methodology of, you find it in my playlist. Go to my channel, Bush2G9, YouTube, Bush2G9. You go to the playlist. You find it concerning the Salat. You see the washing the ghusl there. Okay. Now, the second question is, somebody is asking that, are we going to be given 72 virgins in paradise? Oh my God. Obviously, you know what this question represents, right? You know which group of people have this mindset, right? They said, are we going to be given 72 virgins? So when they say virgins, they are trying to tell you concerning how do you say it? They are trying to allocate that to, just a second. Yeah, they are trying to allocate that to saying that the sectarians, the Sunni, the Shia, they all believe that you'll be giving 72 virgins. I wonder what you are going to use them for. It doesn't make sense. There's no logic in that. So they said, are we going to be giving 72 women in paradise? The answer is no. God never said he's going to give you 72. What do you think paradise is for? Are you going to be, excuse me to say, are you going to be acting pornography there or what? What do you need 72 women for? Seriously. What do you need 72 women for? I don't understand. What? For what? Look. Ask any sane man in this world. Give him a room and give him 2 women. Is it not even too much? Right? In the same room with 2 women? Is it not even too much for you? What do you need 72 women for? To do what? I don't understand. So you think sectarianism is a disease, right? To be part of a sectarian cult is a disease, seriously. And it's a pedophilial and perverted mindset they put inside people. So when you are part of a cult, you are restricted from thinking outside the box. You understand? And these are the ideologies they implanted into people's head. You need 72 women to do what with? I don't understand. To do what? You understand me? So, first of all, it's a bogus claim and it's not coming from God. It's not in the Quran. It's emanated from the garbage books. When I say garbage books, you know what I'm talking about. The garbage books. It is coming from there. It is not from the Quran. There is there's no single verse in the Quran where God says he will even give you 5 women. To do what? What do you need that for? What? You think going to paradise is all about having sex? That's what you think? Seriously, what is wrong with the sectarians? So the second, it goes again. It says, why is God testing us while he knows who will get into paradise and the hellfire? Why? The question is, why is God testing us if he already knows who will be going to paradise and who is going to hell? So I'm going to answer this in a simple manner, right? If you go to Quran chapter 29, Surah Al-Ankabut, I'm going to read chapter 29, verse 2 to verse, let's say, verse 3, right? Verse 2 to verse 3. Let me put it on the screen. For those on Facebook and YouTube, you get to see the verse I'm putting on the screen, right? Okay. Yeah. So Quran chapter 29, verse 2 to verse 3. So God is saying, Ahasiba nasu an yutraku an yaqulu amanna wa hum la yuftanun. Do the people think that they will be left to say we have believed, or to say we believe and they will not be tested? So you just want to say you believe and God will not test you? Because the idea of God creating you is to test you. He created you to come and serve him. So then he said he will test you during the service. He will test you. He will put you to the trials, right? So do the people think that they will be left to say we believe or we have believed and they will not be tested? Then verse 3, then God says, وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Then he says, فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. So God says, for we have certainly tested those before them, and God will expose those who are truthful, that is, those who are honest, and he will expose the liars as well, right? Now, in the first instance, the question is saying that why is God testing us while he knows who will get into paradise and who will get into hellfire? Good. Now, God created the humans and the jinns. Quran chapter 51 verse 56. He did not create the humans and the jinns except to serve him. That is to worship him, right? Now, in this service, you have the free will. Whether you want to serve God or not is up to you. So if I take you to Quran chapter 67 verse 2 and I put it on the screen, God says, Allazi khalaqal mawta wal haya liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala wa huwa al-azizul ghafur. So God says, the one who created life and death in order to test you as to which of you is best indeed, and he is the Almighty, the forgiving. So let me give you an example. In a classroom, the teacher teaching the students, the teacher, most of the times, the teacher knows the smart students, and then the teacher knows the dumb ones. They know who is intelligent and who is not intelligent, who is likely to pass an exams and who is not likely to pass an exam. But still, the teacher has to give you assignments. The teacher has to give you homeworks, regardless. That is example number one. Example number two, if you have kids, let's say you have children at home, you always know your children. You know your children. You know who is more likely not to follow your instructions and who is more likely to follow your instructions. But regardless of that, sometimes you leave, let's say, this mouse. You leave it there. This mouse, you leave it. And then you tell the kids, don't touch this mouse. You have two kids, right? You always know there's one kid among the two who touched this. But then you decided to put it there. The reason why you are putting it there and telling them don't touch it, and after that they will touch it, is because you want the kid to actually know that you know them and that they have decided to make that choice, even though you are just testing them. Somebody can say, why does God test? And the question is, why will your teacher test you in the classroom if they know you are intelligent? Why still do they have to give you assignments? Why do they have to put you in the exams hall still, regardless of them knowing you are knowledgeable? Why do they have to do that? Sometimes the outcome is for your own good. The outcome is not for the teacher. It is for you to know if you are good, really, really good, then you can testify, yes, I'm good at this. If it's you are bad, so that you can testify for yourself that, yes, I'm bad. So that it will not be based on assumption. You understand? So everything that God is talking about, that on the day of judgment you come and see, is for your own good. That is why he says, if you do good, you do it for yourself. Quran chapter 17 verse 7, if you do good, you do it for yourself. If you do bad, likewise, it is for yourself. Right? So now the questioner was asking that, why is God testing us while he knows who will be going to the paradise and who will be going to the hell? Yes, he knows. Alimul ghaibi. He knows he has the knowledge of the unseen, right? He knows it. But he wants you, the human being, to testify for yourselves that he knows you. So he gave you the free will. So now you decide. What did God say? فَمَنْ شَاءَ اتَّخَذَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِ سَبِيلًا. Quran chapter 73 verse 19. Whoever wills, let him take the way to his Lord. God is not forcing you. If God is forcing us, everybody will become a believer. Quran chapter 10 verse 99 to 100. If he wanted us to believe, everyone on earth will become a believer by force. But he gave you the free will. Quran chapter 18 verse 29. قُلِ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. He says the truth is from the Lord. Whoever wills, let him believe. Whoever wills, let him disbelieve. So it's your choice. He knows the decision you are going to make, but he's just watching you. You decide. He gave you the free will. Okay, you decide. Then you decided to be an armed robber. You decided to be a rapist. You decided to be a killer. You decided to do evil with your time. He has given you the free will. You decide to choose the bad side. That's why there's a judgment day. So somebody is saying, if there is God, how come innocent people are dying? Who told you they are innocent? Are you in their head? Are you in their heart? Somebody said, babies are dying. Are you the one who created the babies? Are you in charge of the world? The one in charge of the world says there's a judgment day. Let all these things become a bygone. We go and stand in front of him. Simple. You understand? Just like at the workplace, we have a supervisor, we have a boss, we have organizer, we have a secretary, whatever. Still, mistakes will happen at the workplace, regardless of them being a supervisor, whoever. Mistake can still happen at the workplace. You understand? The point is, regardless of all these things happening in the universe, in the world, we will still go back to God, and he will tell us whatever we have committed or done, so that you can bear witness of it for yourself. So what does God say in Quran chapter 17, verse 13 to 14? This is what God says. On the day of judgment, for every human we have fastened his omen to his neck, and we will bring forth a record for him on the day of resurrection, which he will encounter spread out. Verse 14, read your record, for your soul is sufficient today as a recorder over you. So on the day of judgment, you and your own soul will be sufficient for yourself. You will know what you have done, and you will see it for yourself. So the idea of God testing us for us to come on the day of judgment to see our records, even though he knows which decision you are going to make, he doesn't have to interfere in your decision making. So understand the rules God has set forth for you to be on this earth. If you don't understand, this is where you judge God wrongly, because you use your whims and desires. And that's why other people become atheists, because they have no idea who God is. They have no idea what God says. I've encountered a lot of people who tell me they are agnostic. Some people, they say they are atheists. And I'm saying, why did you become an atheist? Then they say, because I don't like the idea that I have to believe in a supernatural being. I say, you see, so this is just about ego. This is about your own desires. You don't just like the idea. What? You don't like the idea, but you decided to use that idea to believe in evolution that you have not seen with your eyes. But then you don't just like the idea that you have to believe that God created the heavens and the earth. Where is the logic here? But you chose to be an atheist. So anyway, it's not by force. You can just decide to be an atheist. I've seen people who call themselves agnostic, right? They seem to believe there is a creator, but they have a doubt. So then, you having a doubt, then sometimes I ask them, what makes you doubt that Islam is false? Like, what gives you the doubt that Islam is false? Then they'll say, oh, because God is like this, it's not merciful, is that. What? I don't understand. So based on which criteria did you just claim that Islam is false? If you ask him, do you have knowledge of the Quran from cover to cover? He'll tell you no. So based on which criteria? Is it based on what the scholars are saying? Right? Is it based on what the scholars are saying that you chose to say Islam is false? Then that becomes an opinionated choice. It's not anymore about facts, because based on your choice, you are not basing it on a fact. It's just an opinion. Fine, you are entitled to your opinion. You don't believe Islam is true, that's up to you. You don't believe the Quran is true, that's up to you. You understand? If you have any other logic, can you prove it? That's the point. Can you prove your logic? Okay. So The question goes, the person says, do we have free will? Yes, we have free will. You have a free will to make a decision in your life. There are things that you don't have free will. For instance, your birth, your race. You don't have a free will to that. You don't decide your birth. You don't decide your your race. You don't decide how tall you'll be or short when you are born, or whether fat or slim, whether ugly or handsome, whether from a rich family or poor family. You don't decide that. Whether you are a type of crying person or sad person or happy type, happy head, or you don't decide that. So you are created by design, right? The one who created you wanted you to achieve your goals based on the way he has created you, right? He created some people in Africa, some people in Asia, some people in Europe. It's not your decision to make. Yes, you should sit down and reflect. Who made this decision for me? He made you for a reason. You just need to achieve your goal. Follow the role you have been given. You see, for people who watch football, soccer, Americans will say soccer, right? For people who watch football, we have 11 players in opposite teams, right? 11 players. So there's a goalkeeper. The goalkeeper doesn't take the role of the striker. Neither does he take the role of a defender or a midfielder. You understand? Everybody has a role to play, but you are on the same team together, right? So you can be born in a family of 5. Then we have one who is tall, one who is short, one who is fat, one who is very handsome, one who is very pretty. Then we have one who is very ugly. Then we have the one who is in between. God decides that. You don't decide. You don't decide that, right? Fine. If you want to ask God, God, why did you make me fat? That's up to you. Right? You want to ask God, go ahead. You can ask God. If you want to change your own creation, that's up to you. That's why we have people going for liposuction, people going for cosmetology, just fixing themselves. That's up to you. Then when you go on the day of judgment, you go and explain that to God, why you chose to do all that. Do you understand? God created you black. You decided to change to become white. When you go back to the creator, you explain to the creator, God, I didn't like the way you created me. I wanted to be a white person. You made me a black person. So I decided to change my own skin and go white. Well, go to God and explain. So when we say free will, this is where free will comes into play. You decide certain things in your own, right? God made you black. You decided, no, I don't like black. So let me change. I want to become white. That's your own free will, right? So you have the free will to decide whether you want to be a good person or a stupid person or a smart person or a bad person. Whatever you want to become, it's your choice now. Decide. But God didn't just create you and say, you know what? I'm creating this person, but this person, I need to take them to hell. No, because of your decision. So God has to seed you for hell because you have decided, you have taken a path. So that's the path God is going to lead you on. So the devil, he invoked God to give him the power to mislead people. God respected him, yes, because that is his free will. That is his choice. But Adam decided to ask for forgiveness. And God forgave him. Quran chapter 2, verse 37, you read, God forgave him for that. Right? But the devil, no, he didn't want to ask for forgiveness. He rather asked God, give me the power to mislead the people. Yes, God will give you. When you are going to steal, if you like, call on God. He will give you the chance to do that because he already sets the pace. There's a judgment day. You come, he will ask you for it. Simple. So understand how this works. How free will is different from when we say qadar. Destiny is different from the notion of free will. We have been given free will to make certain decisions, to choose what we want, to decide what we want to do. If I want to be a doctor, that's my decision. I just need to go and take some courses and start following. That's it. You understand? I want to be a mechanic. It's my own free will to decide. Right? There is nowhere, a single verse in the Quran where God says you don't have a free will. And that is why in Quran chapter 10, verse 99, this is what God asked the prophet. Listen what God asked the prophet. He says, and if your Lord had willed, whoever is on earth will have believed. All of them entirely, if God has willed, had he willed, all of us on earth will become believers by force. So God says, so will you, Muhammad, will you compel the people until they become believers? It's a question to him. Will you now force people to become believers? Because they have free will to decide. Some people don't want to believe. Why will you force them to believe you? Quran chapter 12, verse 106. See what God says. Verse 103. Quran chapter 12, verse 103. God says, and most of the people are not believers, even if you decide, even if you desire that people should become believers. God says most of them are not believers. What can you do? Are you going to force people to believe? How? You're going to force me to believe in your garbage books? You're going to force me to believe in your opinion? How? Do you understand? So people don't understand how free will works, and they don't understand how destiny works. You understand? So humble yourselves, sit down, and learn. So this is what God says in Quran chapter 10, verse 39. Check what God says. God says, in fact, they have denied what they have not encompassed its knowledge, and whose interpretation has not yet come to them. Likewise did those before them deny. So observe how was the end of the transgressors. People like to deny what they have not encompassed its knowledge. What do? And whose interpretation has not yet come to them. Even though they don't even have the knowledge, they don't have the interpretation of it, they'll just deny it. Likewise did those before them deny. And God says, so observe how was the end of the transgressors. So always the transgressors are the ones to be destroyed. Yes. So God has given you the free will. You can choose to become an atheist. God is never going to force you. If you like, become the biggest atheist the world have ever seen. God is never going to force you. It's up to you. But how come when you are in the aeroplane and there's a turbulence, you start saying, oh my God, even though you are an atheist? Is that not hypocrisy? How come when you are on the cruise ship and there's a wave or there's a storm, you start saying, oh my God, I thought you said there's no God. What? You understand? So the human being has the free will to decide what he wants to be today, what he wants to be tomorrow. Is your choice. Just call on God and he will materialize that for you. He's not forcing you. If God is forcing us to become believers, who are you to say you are an atheist? In which world? Good. So that is the answer to that question. And then the other question is, believers die once. They taste death, but disbelievers die twice. How? Now, this person was asking this question, but it means the person has already summarized the question from his own perspective, saying believers die twice. What? It says believers die once and disbelievers die twice. Where did God actually say believers die once and disbelievers die twice? God never said that. So I'm going to answer this. If you go to Quran chapter 2, verse 28, listen what God says. كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا فأحياكم. Then he says, ثم يميتكم ثم يحييكم. Then he says what? ثم إليه ترجعون. So God says, how can you disbelieve in God while you were lifeless? Now, when you were lifeless, we still classify it as dead. But we don't use the word dead for that, because when you are lifeless at that beginning, we don't classify you as dead because you didn't come to the earth yet. But the same word amwat can also be used for lifeless, can be used, but you have to understand the context. Just like God used the word amwata, maita for the dead animal, and used the word death, same for a barren land or lifeless land. So God says, how can you disbelieve in God while you were lifeless? You, the human being, you were lifeless. You didn't exist. Quran chapter 76, Surah Al-Insan. Al-ata al-insan hinun milal dar lam yakun shay'an mazkura. Right? At a point of time in history, the human being was nothing to be mentioned. Then all of a sudden, you just came into existence. People are mentioning you as a subject, right? Okay, so at that time, you were lifeless. You didn't exist. So you were lifeless. Then now he gave you life. You became a living being. People are now all of a sudden discussing you. You understand? Before I was born, I was lifeless. There was no life. Babashuaib never existed. So I was lifeless. Then I came into life. People started discussing me. Then God says, then he will cause you to die again. You will die. You'll be buried. You'll be dead. Then what will happen? He will raise you up on the day of judgment. You'll be risen again. So how many times were you lifeless? That's 2. Because you were lifeless before you were given birth. Then you died. Then on the day of judgment, he will raise you in front of God. So that is 2 lives and not 2 lifeless. Right? Okay. Now, this understanding the person has was inherited from Quran chapter, Quran chapter 40 verse 11. Now this is what the disbelievers, remember it is the disbelievers saying, Quran chapter 2 verse 28, it is God stating that statement. In Quran chapter 40 verse 11, it is the disbelievers using their own mouth to speak. You remember, these same disbelievers on the day of judgment, God will ask them, how long did you stay on earth? You understand? They don't know. They will say, oh, it's just a part of the day or just the evening. So these same disbelievers, they will go in front of God with the same lies in their mouth. So what God is saying is different from what the disbelievers are actually perspective they are speaking from. So listen what the disbelievers will say on the day of judgment. They, the disbelievers, will say, our Lord, you caused us to die twice. That is 2 times. And gave us life 2 times. So we have confessed our sins. Therefore, is there any way to exit? It doesn't mean this disbeliever was on earth, he died, he got up and died. Not like that. It is based on the explanation God has already given. That how can you disbelieve in God? Whilst you were lifeless, and then he gave you life, and then you died, and then he raised you again, and then you return to him. So that is 2 lives and 2 deaths. So it's based on that they are making a statement to God. They, the disbelievers, will say, our Lord, you created us to, you caused us to die 2 times. Now, these 2 times, let me let you understand something. These 2 times was because they were lifeless before, and then they got alive. Then they will die, and then they will be raised again in front of God. Do you get my point? The process of lifelessness. When you were born, your parents told you how you were conceived. They told you. Most of us, our parents told us how we were conceived, right? They would tell us, oh, when your mother and I used to date, or we used to do this before we got married, we went here, we went there. So at that time, that story you are being told, at that time you were lifeless because you are nowhere to be discussed. So you know that I was lifeless. I wasn't there. Then all of a sudden you became something to discuss about. Your mother took the pregnancy, and then, oh, we nearly lost you, and we went to a village because I thought your mother is going to die, and then one old woman helped us, and then you were conceived, and then we gave birth to you, right? Do you understand? So now you came into being. So in your head, you knew you were lifeless, and then now you got life. Then now you grow, you die. When you die, that is 2 lifelessness. Then you'll be raised in front of God again. So that is 2 lives and 2 lifelessness. This is the calculation. So it is not as if people will tell you there's a reincarnation. Let me show you. Let me seize that argument of reincarnation. When people tell you there's reincarnation, that we go and come back to the same earth, ask them, where is Pharaoh? Pharaoh, when he went, when did he come back? Where is he? To which people? Where is Adam? When he went, did he come back? Where is he? Those, well, where are they? We want to know, where are they? Where is Prophet Muhammad? When he went, did he come back? Where is he? You name them. Where are they? We want to know the reincarnation of those people. Okay, let me show you that there's no coming back. When you are gone, no coming back. When you go to Quran chapter 23, verse 99. In Quran chapter 23, verse 99, when a transgressor dies, right? And God is going to take the soul away. Listen what is going to happen. when a transgressor dies, is dying, God says, until when death comes to one of them, listen, until when death comes to one of them, he says, Lord, send me back. When death comes to one of them, he says, Lord, send me back. To where? To the world. Then verse 100, that I may act righteous in what I have left, that is, I've left behind in the world. Then God says, nay, indeed, it is a word he is stating. That means he's just saying out of nothing. But behind them, such people, is a partition, that is a barzakh, a partition, until the day they are resurrected. Right? That is what? That is, and when the horn is blown, there will be no genealogy among them on that day, nor will they ask about each other. So that is the second coming of a human being. You will be raised again. When you die on earth, you go, you don't come back to the earth again. You are stopped from coming back. You are done. You understand? It's just like football. When they substitute a player, he goes out of the field, he doesn't come back. When they substitute you, you exit from the football field, you don't come back to the field. You're gone. A new player has to come. This is how it works. So when somebody dies, there's no coming back. Whoever tells you somebody dies, he will come back is a lie. Then they'll tell you, oh, we think there's reincarnation. Our great-great-grandfather died several years ago, and we think he is born again from our daughter. Oh, now we have our daughter. It's just similar thing. They're acting the same. Oh, excuse me, what is wrong with you? The same God who created your grandparents is the same God created. He creates people with similarity. He's God who creates and repeats. So if he has repeated something, what is your issue? My daughter, her second name is my mother's name. My mother is deceased about how many years ago? 14 years ago. My mother died. 13 years ago. My mother died, right? I took my mother's name and gave to my daughter as a second name. And guess what? My daughter has striking resemblance in terms of attitude with my mom. I'm serious. It's shocking. She has some striking attitude she inherited from my mom. Look, it's amazing. But then out of stupidity, I will say, oh, that is my mom. Are you dumb? Are you nuts? Are you nuts? Huh? Your mom is dead. My mom is dead and gone. That's not my mom. The same God who created my mom can repeat certain things. He can repeat an attitude. He can repeat a type of creation. Simple. It doesn't mean it's the same person. Understand this. Understand it very well. There is a difference. So for people who are telling you there's a reincarnation, like look, somebody's writing. He says means you giving birth to your mom. You see what somebody's writing? He said, I gave birth to. Does it sound right in your head? No wonder some of you are saying Jesus is God and yet Mary is his mother. Does it make sense to you? Yeah, actually, because the reason why I use my mom's name to give to my daughter as a second name is because I want to have that memory, right? That memory of my mom. So I decided to use that name and give to my daughter as a second name, not a first name. But then all of a sudden, she took some features from my mom, like resembling features, right? Yeah, she took it. So I keep telling my daughter, wow, sometimes you act like my mom, like some of your attitude on the things you do. Yes, it's true. But to say I gave birth to my mom, how come? What kind of psychopath is that? Like, you're going to tell my father, hey, you know what? Your wife, I gave birth to your wife. My dad will be looking at me. It's like, hello, is that 112 emergency hospital? I think my son is going, he's going nuts. Seriously, stop that bullshit of this reincarnation bullshit. What give birth to your okay, anyways, jokes aside, let's continue. Yeah. So that was a question the person. And then the last question before I start picking up questions from here, a brother was asking that was watching your video on different versions of the Quran. And from the Quran, it is very clear only one was revealed to the Prophet. Yes, that's true. There's only one version of the Quran revealed to the Prophet. Then he said, I've been seeing many different Quran versions of Quran going around. Some having total different words in the ayats. How are we gonna find out which one of these is the real Quran that was revealed to the Prophet? As maybe good topic for next lecture. Okay, so let me discuss. I've spoken about this in some of my videos, right? I've spoken about this issue in some of my lectures. But however, this is the issue here. We have one Quran, one version of the Quran revealed to the Prophet. If you go to Quran chapter 10, verse 15, it is one version where God says, when you recite the verses of God to them as evidences, then they will say, those who do not expect in meeting God, you will say, Ati bi Quran ghairi haza. Bring a Quran other than this. The word haza is used for a singular object, a single object. That is haza, this, T-H-I-S, this. So these people will tell you, bring a Quran. So they are trying to get a different version. So bring a Quran other than this. For instance, if I tell you, bring me a glass other than this, listen, bring me a glass other than this. It means I need another version of glass other than the one you're bringing. If I say, bring me an iPhone other than this, it means bring me another version of iPhone other than what you are presenting to me. So Quran chapter 10, verse 15, let me put it on the screen. Quran chapter 10, verse 15, it says, and when our verses are recited to them as proofs, those who do not hope to meet us, they say, bring a Quran, a reading other than Haza, this, or change it, right? Change it. Okay. Just like the inventors of iPhone and Samsung, they keep doing S10, S9, S8, you understand? And iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone, iPhone 12, iPhone 15, iPhone, whatever, right? You see, the phone, they keep doing different versions of the phone. So what these people call it's a similar phone, it's a kind of similar phone, but they are making different versions of it. So when you take the phone, it's just some few features added. So initially, the disbelievers at the time of Muhammad, this is what they want to happen. They wanted this issue to happen, having different versions of the Quran. So like I keep telling you, the enemies of Prophet Muhammad are the ones who claim we should follow the hadith books. They are the ones who take the decorative speech. The decoration of delusive speech. They are the ones who take in all this to justify their issues and say there are different versions of the Quran. Then they will say there is 7 qira'at of the Quran. There is how many? You understand? This is how they keep lying to you. Number 2, Quran chapter 2, verse 121. God says, those who recite the book with its true recitation, haqqa tilawatihi, the book has only one true recitation. It is not 2 or 3 or 4 versions of it. They are all lies. Now, to summarize this, now how are we going to find out which Quran is the original or the authentic one? Right? Because they said there is what? There is the Hafs, then there is the Warsh, then there is Al-Durri, and then there is other versions. So now which one are you going to? That is when Quran chapter 4 verse 82 comes into play. In Quran chapter 4 verse 82, God says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجِدُوهُ فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. Do they not contemplate the Quran? Had it been from other than God, they would have found numerous contradictions, or we can say discrepancies therein. Yes, you will have found numerous discrepancies therein. So your duty and my duty is to take up the book, whichever Quran they are bringing you, and they are saying this is from God. Just take it. Start investigating the book. Start looking for discrepancies. Start looking for contradictions. Remember, there is no such thing as 2 versions, 3 versions, 4 versions of the Quran. There's only one version. But your duty is to investigate. I've done my investigation, right? The one they are giving it the name Hafs version is consistent and can be traced back to even the Usmani version. It's consistent to all the versions they find in the past. But however, somebody will say, how are we sure this is the authentic Quran from God? So then you go to Quran chapter 35, verse 31 to 32. The Quran is to be inherited through inspiration. And I'm going to show you the evidence. The Quran chapter 35 verse 31, God says, and what we have inspired to you, Muhammad, of the book is the truth, confirming what was before it. Indeed, God to his servant is cognizant and conversant. Verse 32, then we will transmit the book to those we have chosen among our servants. We will cause the book to be inherited by those we have chosen among our servants. God never said Prophet Muhammad should give the Arabs the book to keep it there. God never said Prophet Muhammad should preserve the book for the Arabs. No. That is why the Quran is not for the Arabs. The Quran is for mankind. Quran chapter 2 verse 185. It's a guidance for mankind. It is not a book for the Arabs. They are not the authors of the Quran. When I say the author is God, right? Now, they are not the authors of the Quran. So then God will cause the book to be transmitted to those he has chosen among his servants. So he is the one to choose the ones to inherit the Quran. Somebody will say, how did the Prophet Muhammad inherit the Quran in the first? He inherited it through revelation and inspiration. So are you saying the same God cannot do the same thing? So why is it that they have to lie to you that, oh, the Quran has to be preserved by people before it gets? Are you a fool? You think God is sleeping? The same God who chose Muhammad out of nowhere, inspired him and revealed the Quran to him. You think he cannot choose another servant to reveal the same book to another servant? So you, out of your foolishness, have to preserve papers for us to reach us? Some of the dumbest questions I hear from the sectarians is, the Quran you are using, how did it get to you? I got it from DHL and FedEx and UPS. Stupid question. How did it get to me? You want me to say, oh, it went to Ibn Abbas, and from Ibn Abbas, it went to this Arabian man in desert, and then from him, it went to this guy, and then from this guy, and then I got it from Saudi Arabia, and then that's how you want me to explain? Come on, use your logic. What kind of stupid question is that? It's just like you are given an inheritance. There's a legal will for you, right? So you grew up, and then they are handing over your your property to you. Then you are told that, hey, your uncle, he left this property for you. Then the first question which comes out from somebody's mouth, how did you get this? Are you dummy? Are you a dummy? The legal will has been written already for me to investigate that this is mine. I just need to take the legal will like this and check what is rightfully mine and what is not. That's it. I don't need to investigate. Okay, and whose hands did this pass before coming to me? Did he go to Germany? Where did he pass? China? Before he got to me, before I will believe in it. What? Well, no ways. Don't worry. That's how sectarians think. The sectarians don't give credibility to Quran till they actually, how will I say it? Till their garbage books actually certify the book before they would give credence to the Quran. They don't respect the Quran. It is only when their hadith says something about the Quran, they are okay with it. Yeah. Any logic you give concerning the Quran, it doesn't work for them. I'm serious. It doesn't work for them. Exactly, bandwidth. That's what they want you to say. They want you to say, oh, he went to Abu Bakr, and from Abu Bakr, he went to Kojokum, and Kojokum is just like a football match, like passing the ball to each other, like Messi to Ronaldo, like passing the ball. This is how sectarian brain works. I told you they need new brains, the brain cells to work. Anyways, so if the brother is watching, the simplest form of analyzing which Quran you have to take is to check for contradiction and discrepancies. When you check, there are some, if whenever you see inconsistencies, right, in certain, it cannot be from God. Whatever you see contradictions, it cannot be from God, right? They are the ones who gave it names. They gave it names. Halves. They say halves. Warsh. Adur, they are the ones giving them. Forget about the names. Names can be given to anything. For instance, I've translated a fully translated Quran, right? Babashuaib. If you take my version of the Quran, my name is written there. So some people will say, give me the version, the translated version of Babashuaib. Does it mean I myself invented a new Quran? The answer is no. But some people will say, I need the version of Babashuaib. There's no problem in saying that, but you need to investigate. May it be Babashuaib has made mistakes. Whenever you see mistakes, it cannot be from God. It's from babashuaib. That's the idea. So when they give you Quran, they tell you there are different versions of the Quran. That becomes a false claim in the first place. If you say there are different versions, who made it different versions? God. Okay, hatu bur'anakum. Open the verse and show us one verse of the Quran where it says there are different versions of the Quran. If they are not, then they will tell you, okay, how come we have a duri? How come we have halves? How come we have warsh? Well, you made it up. So give me the book. Let me investigate. It's just like I grew up, they gave me a legal will for my properties. And then I see different versions of the same document. I need to authenticate which one is the original. If I see contradiction in any of the documents, I know this is not from my uncle or my father. Do you see the logic there? So yours is just to investigate. Don't go with the flow. Then they keep asking you, oh, which version is this? Which version? No. Don't go with their nonsensical arguments. Like I keep saying, if somebody asks you a stupid question, please don't answer it. And this is my rules, and this is my principles I use everywhere. You check on my wall, you check everywhere. If somebody asks me a stupid question, I don't answer them. Never. How are you supposed to answer a stupid question? Do you understand what I mean by stupid question? Let me give you an example. Stupid question is, let's say I'm single and I'm not married and I don't have kids, right? I'm single. Let's say hypothetically. So I'm single and I'm not married and I don't have kids. Then I'll just meet somebody on the street out of nowhere. Then he say, hey, hello, babashuaib. How are you? I said, oh, I'm fine. How are your wife and kids doing? He just asked me, how are your wife and kids doing? Hello? What kind of question is that? How am I supposed to answer the question? Do you get my point? How am I supposed to answer that question? Am I supposed to say, yes, they are fine, they are good, or no, they are not? Whichever way I answer the question is a contradictory statement. The question on its own is a stupid question. It's a foolish question. It's a nonsensical question. Because in the first place, if somebody is single and they are not married, and the person doesn't have kids, and then you in the first place meeting the person and then say, how are your wife and kids doing? No, first of all, does he have a wife? The answer is no. Does he have kids? The answer is no. So why ask such a person, how are your wife and kids? And I'm saying this because sectarians, if you're talking to a sectarian and they ask you even a stupid question, they still want an answer for stupid questions. Have you noticed that? When you're talking to a Sunni, a Shia, Ahmadi, or whatever, a sectarian, when they ask you a stupid question, they actually want an answer from you, even though it's a stupid question. Like I'll be brain damaged if I answer your stupid question. So in order to save my energy for the future, for a better question in the future from somebody, I need to stay away from you. You understand? Why waste my energy to answer a stupid question? For instance, let's say you are sleeping and you're dreaming. Then somebody comes, babashuaib, babashuaib. Then he see that you are not answering, you are sleeping, right? Then he asks you, babashuaib, are you sleeping? Babashuaib, are you sleeping? No, seriously. What kind of question is that? You can see, you see the person sleeping. You can hear the person even snoring. You are asking the person, are you sleeping? No, seriously. So he has to, yeah, I'm sleeping. So if he answer you, then what shows he's sleeping? Do you get the logic? If he wakes up to answer you, what shows that he's sleeping? Hello, some questions are not meant to be answered. I'm serious. I'm serious. So my principles is my TikTok, my Facebook. If you ask me a stupid question, I'll tell you and I'll ignore you. I'm not going to waste. First of all, number one, you are not paying me. Number two, you don't go to a classroom acting like you are level intact with your teacher. So if you are humbly asking for something and it's not supposed to be answered, you'll be brushed off. Look at Musa alayhi salam. Prophet Moses, chapter 18, verse 65. Read up to verse 82. When he went seeking for knowledge, do you see how his teacher gave him the rules to abide by? The teacher told him, don't ask me about anything unless I make an explanation to you. But still, Moses was arrogant. He's like, no, I'll ask you. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? What did the teacher say? This is where we part ways. We can't work together. So go your way. Let me go my way. So if you are coming to me, babashuaib, something which has taken me years to study and understand, and you think you just come with a blink of an eye out of nowhere, me not knowing you, I don't even know you. And within the last 10 seconds, I did not even like your manners. And you expect to just type a question, and then you say, sometimes what baffles me is somebody who ask me a question and say, give me the answer here. I don't want any link. Huh? Is that how you talk to your bozo scholars? Huh? Sister Alma just no, it's just, the mushriks, they are something else. Sometimes I just want to banter with them a bit. It's good to be, to be on the jovial side a bit, because I meet people like, and this is why when I deal with sectarians and we act one-on-one, I try to set them up as scapegoats. I try to bring the foolishness out of them so they will actually act foolish for everybody to see. This is what I do. You understand? Using logic is very, very important to the human, to the human psyche. You understand? Yeah, greetings. Abraham bin Moshe, common sense. He says the hadith says when a cock crows, it means it has seen an angel. No, you see. So these are the things that the hadith book, the garbage books, these are the things they put out there for people. You understand? They will go to the extent to say, if you have a picture in your house, there's no angel coming to your house. They will say, if you have a dog in your house, there's no angel. If you have a black dog, they say you have to kill it. If you have a black cat, they say you have to kill it. Like what is this? Seriously, what is this? What is wrong with a sectarian? Like, I'll commit suicide if I was a sectarian. I'm serious. To be put jokes out. If I was if I was following at this right now, I'll commit suicide. Why? Anyways, Allah mushrika is sectarians, seriously. Sectarians. Yeah, and somebody will say, Labrick says, not talking to women by hand because that's like a sword in the head. This is all these things they have in their assumption. You can imagine a sectarian praying, right? When they are praying and they go in the sitting position, They do their hands like this hand. They put it on the knee like this. And then they are doing this. You see some people doing this. I have no idea what is it. According to their scholars, where you are weeping the devil. Can you imagine how much billions of people are weeping the devil in a day or in just some minutes, and yet the devil is still alive? And to me, the devil is still alive with all these beatings you are giving the devil. He's still making you kill each other. I'm serious. Seriously, serious. They are kaput in the head. If you are a sectarian, you are kaput. I'm not joking. It's for a fact. Sectarians are kaput in the head. It's like, how can you buy this nonsense? Then you go to the extent you tell me that if a woman doesn't sleep with her husband, the angels are cursing her. Is it the angels who married the wife for the man? The angels, if the wife doesn't sleep with her husband, the angels are cursing her. What kind of nonsensical issue is it? The angels are cursing her for what? Abraham says I should stop laughing. We are serious. I cannot hold my laughing. If I laugh, if I hold it, tears will come. So I have to let it come out. And then they said the devil is locked up in Ramadan. It's locked up for what? It's like a game. Like you lock it up. So after Ramadan, you say, hey, oh yeah, go. The people are finished. Go and disturb them. Like sectarianism is like it's a comedy. I'm serious. To be honest, sectarianism is a pure comedy, right? And this is why they don't allow logic. They don't. This like kudos to this guy Avram B. Moshe in Ghana. He's doing that work. He's doing that dirty job of setting their minds ablaze, right? Of course. The point is, sectarians, if you have to deal with sectarians, they bring out the nonsensical aspect of religion. This is what they present to people. And let me tell you how perspectives work, right? It's okay to listen to other people's perspective, even if you don't agree with them. Just listen. You don't agree with them, fine. There's no fighting about it, right? Just listen to people, let them make their argument. You don't want to understand, or you don't agree with them, fine. That's it. But when you stop people from speaking out their mind or saying things as they see it, then there's a problem. Sometimes I let people approach me. They ask me questions. People approach me and they ask me questions. Look, there's a text. People will read it and they say, brother, this is what I understood. Then I will show them the other perspective of the text. And then they are like, oh, mashallah, now I understand. Because perspective is very important. Don't blame somebody for simply reading a text and telling you what they understand. Yeah, don't blame them, because this is what the person has seen and has read, and he is making a conclusion based on what he has read. If you have a superior understanding, yours is just to pinpoint it and show this is how reasoning and logic works. You cannot force people to believe in what you believe, or to force people to take what you're saying as the truth. No, that's why I say even if God wanted, God will have forced everybody to believe, but God doesn't do that. So who are you to say, hey, this guy is a kafir, we are going to deal with him? What? Is a religion for your father? Yalla mushrik guy. Look, somebody is saying, I have been beaten so many times growing up for leaving my shoes upside down. Yeah, they will beat you. I'm serious. They will beat you. And some of them will even slap you when they see you standing and urinating. You understand? All this ideology is called what we call mental slavery. They make you look dumb and foolish. And back in the days, they don't give you room to ask questions. You want to ask questions, you are scared. You understand? And this is why, babashuaib, I'm trying to liberate you, the masses, to understand that don't just follow religion like a sheep. I'm serious. Okay, so let me see some of the questions I've not been able to answer. Hey, Sheikh Al-Mel, it says, what is your opinion on Surah Imran? Actually, let me see. Chapter 3, verse 103. Chapter 3, verse 103, it says, and stick to the rope of God altogether and do not be separated. And remember the blessing of God upon you when you were enemies, and he united your hearts and you became brothers by his blessing. And you were on the edge of a pit of the fire. Then he saved you from it. God does clarify to you his verses. Perhaps you will be guided. Now, number one, and stick to the rope of God altogether and do not be separated. When we say rope, we are talking about one thing, just a rope, one. For instance, God gave us the book, the Quran. You have to stick to the Quran. That means you are sticking to God. And if you are holding to the book of God, you don't become divided. You are together, right? Let me tell you how it works. Holding on to the rope of God is just like a family, a father, a mother, and children. You see, even though you are in the same family, somebody likes fufu, somebody likes rice, and somebody likes pounded yam, and somebody likes wache. But in the same house, no fight. Then there's a day we will all eat yam. There's a day we will all eat fufu. There's a day we will all eat, you understand, randomly, so that everybody will get his fair share. So even if you don't agree to the fufu, you just have to maintain and eat for this day. Then tomorrow is your day for rice. We will all eat rice as well. So when God says, and stick to the rope of God altogether and do not be separated, when you are part of the deen and you stick to the book of God, you are not going to be divided, regardless of different perspectives. We are still on the same rope together. You just need to listen to my perspective. You might not agree with me by force necessarily, but it doesn't mean we should fight. This is how God wants us to work together. So we stick to the rope of God all together and should not be separated. And that is why in the house, there's a mother, there's a father, there's children. Even though the whole family doesn't agree, but they work together. They stick together, regardless of different views. I'm giving you an example, right? When Moses went to seek for knowledge from another servant of God, Quran chapter 18, verse 65 to 82, he went to another servant of God. But you can see they have different point of views to the same subject. Do you understand the logic I'm giving? Quran chapter 18, verse 65, you read up to verse 82. Moses was a servant of God. The other servant of God is also a servant of God. Moses went there to seek for knowledge. Even though they are both servants of God, they are both following God, but they have different point of views to the same subject. So we having different perspective on the same subject doesn't mean we are divided. But it is out of some people's foolishness. For instance, I will see some people, they call themselves Quran alone followers. Just because babashuaib believes in the aspect of some ritual aspect of Islam, these people will go and make videos and tag me as a kafir, a Satan, a devil. When I see such videos, I just laugh. Because who am I to get angry at a fool? You understand? When a foolish person or ignorant person is insulting me, why should I be offended? I would rather be offended when a wise person is insulting me, because a wise person always has a tangible evidence or reasons as to why he will insult you, and not even in public. So we believing in the same Quran, we holding the same book doesn't mean we cannot have different perspective, but it has to be based on the some subject, but we are not supposed to fight. Moses and his teacher didn't fight. All they did is they part ways. Right? Parting ways is okay. If I don't agree with you, I cannot consistently be dealing with you in the same thing, but it doesn't mean you are my enemy. Do you understand the logic? We can agree on certain aspects of life, but if we disagree on certain, that doesn't mean you are my enemy. I just don't agree with you, but it doesn't mean I'm calling you a liar. And this is the aspect of religion some people should understand. You have different views, point of view on a subject doesn't mean you are enemies. Then it goes, and remember the blessing of God upon you when you were enemies. Because if you are part of Islam now, you have transcended from being enemies with each other. Enemies is when you want to fight about every small issue. You want to kill each other about every small issue. Now we have a same goal, to stick with God. So regardless of if I don't agree with you, we don't need to be separated, and we don't need to be enemies. So remember the blessing of God upon you when you were enemies, and he united your hearts and you became brothers. Excuse me, brothers in the same house. Do they agree on everything? No, tell me. Brothers in the same house. Anybody watching here, if you have a brother, do you agree with your brother on the same everything? But let another person from outside attack your brother, and see if you sit there to watch the other person attacking your brother. You will not. You will defend. You will make sure no other person will attack your brother, even though you don't agree with your brother on certain things. But that doesn't mean you should hate your brother. Do you understand the logic? So sticking to the rope of God, we've all followed the word of God, the book of God. That's the main objective. It doesn't mean we will not have different perspective, but the love and unity has to be there. Then it says, by his blessing. Then it says, and you were on the edge of a pit of the fire. Because the moment you are not following the rope of God, where are you going? You are cutting loose, and you're going to hell. Then he says, then he saved you from it. So now he united your hearts, the believers. God does clarify to you his verses. Perhaps you will be guided. So God wants to guide us. That's why he's giving us these instances. Okay, so let me go back to some of the question that I was not able to see. Turkey says, I have a question, Shuaib. In the Quran, it says, obey God and obey the messenger. So does that mean obey the Quran, obey the Quran? What does the ayah mean? I have a video on it. It's on my YouTube channel. Right? When you go to my YouTube channel, I have a video on it. Right? It says, obey God and obey the messenger. It is actually on my first, introduction video. You will see it, and or you go to also what we call the rebuttals. You will see obey God and obey the messenger. The answer is there, right? The words of the messenger are found in the Quran, and the words of God are found in the same Quran, right? So when you obey every statement from the messenger in the Quran, you are obeying God. When you obey God from direct command, you're obeying God. So that's how it works. LV Gongoli says, I have few questions that I wrote down. Okay, you can ask. Labrik says, Salam, what's your thoughts on prayer on Quran? Are the ritual, and what about ablution? Every time you have to pray, you need to take ablution? Yes, anytime you have to go for salat, you have to wash. According to Quran chapter 5 verse 6, right? You have to wash to do the salat. You have to do the ghusl before you do the salat. In Islam, there is some aspect of Islam which are rituals. Yes, they are. Those ritualistic act is to have a bond, a connection with God directly. Then there's another aspect which you are dealing with humanity, like giving charity to help the poor and the needy, like helping people who need your help. These are part of humanity. So there's a ritualistic aspect which gets you spiritually connected with God. Then we have the aspect of humanity, where you have to do good to people, be righteous, be a righteous person. You understand? Somebody says, Kone says, don't apply logic for Quran message. As you know, Allah said in Quran chapter 4 verse 59, if we have dispute. This is this is the dumbest claim to make. Like it's a stupid claim you are just writing. He says, don't apply logic for Quran message. What should I apply? Foolishness, right? You don't apply logic to Quran message. The Quran is a message to mankind. I shouldn't apply logic. I should apply foolishness. No wonder most of the sectarians are foolish and dumb. I call you bozos, most of you. He's telling me don't apply logic for Quran message. So what should I apply? Foolishness. I should apply foolishness for Quranic message, right? No wonder most of the sectarians are foolish and dumb. Abdullah Abbas says, Baba, when does your wudu break according to the Quran? It breaks when you reach chapter 5 verse 6. and you read chapter 4, verse 43, it tells you what breaks your wudu. For instance, God says, do not approach the salat whilst you are intoxicated, unless or until you know what you are saying. And then if you have gone to the toilet, it breaks your wudu. You understand? If you go to the toilet, we do two things. It's either you go to poop or you go to pee. You understand? So these things break your wudu. You have to, your ablution, you have to do it again. And then sleeping with a woman or having an ejaculation or something, all this can cause you to be unclean. So then you have to wash again. Kodo Mapata says, Baba, according to the Quran, who built the Kaaba? As for the notion of building the Kaaba, it doesn't say directly who built the Kaaba, right? But this is what God says. It talks about the foundation, the kawaida, the foundations of the houses there was raised by Abraham, right? So from my experience, right? If you are raising the foundation of a house, it's not the same as building a house. You can raise the foundation and somebody else can come and finish it up, right? So that is the logic. Abraham was the one who raised the foundation of the house. Quran chapter 2, verse 125 to 127. He was the one who raised the foundations. But it doesn't necessarily mean he builds the house you are seeing. You understand? So building the house itself, Quran doesn't say it. But however, in Quran chapter 3, verse 96, this is what God says. Listen what God says. God says in Quran chapter 33, verse 96, he says, indeed, the first house set up for mankind was that which is at Bakkah, blessed and a guidance for all people. Right? The next question is, what's your opinion on praying on masjid or home? Praying at masjid or home? There's nothing wrong with that. You can pray at a mosque or you can pray at your home. There's nothing wrong with that. Zachariah was praying in his own mihrab at home, right? Quran chapter 3, verse 38 to 39. And then you can pray in the masjid. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't pray in the masjid where they have idol worship there. He says there is a hadith that states praying in mosque is 27 level better than praying at home. That is the hadith. That is not from the Quran. Quran never said if you pray at masjid, you are better than somebody praying at home. It never says that. I only take my judgment from the Quran. If you do not judge by what God has revealed, then you are a disbeliever. So I judge by what God has revealed, which is the book of God. I don't use garbage books, right? Okay, so let me see the current questions I've missed. Nat says, Hobie said, don't you use logic to... Yeah, somebody told me I shouldn't use logic. I don't understand. You know, sectarians, they find my logic as a threat. Yeah. To be honest, they find babashuaib's logic as a threat. And that's why I'm called the correctional officer, right? They watch me afar, they are scared. If you tell a sectarian to hop off my channel, you kindly go to any sectarian you know, any scholar, sectarian scholar, tell them, can you come on babashuaib's platform? I don't know why sectarians, the popular scholars you know, sectarians, you name them. If you tell them, go to babashuaib's platform, they are scared. Wallahi, they are scared to come to him. I don't know why. They are scared. You put them to the test. Kindly go around. Any scholar you know, say, babashuaib, this guy is looking for, come go to his platform. They will not come. They are scared. But I am not scared of them. I can go to their platforms. But usually you see what happens when I go to their platform, right? They are unjust. You don't expect justice from a corrupt leader. The reason why I go is for the world to see how unjust these people are. You understand? Most of the debates, everything I've done, I go on their platforms. They are scared. When I tell them, come to my platform, they are scared. I don't know why. Right? So for those on TikTok, when I finish the program on Facebook, YouTube, I will stay a bit longer. Then I'll give the invites to those on TikTok. You can join me, right? I can stay like 30 minutes. Then we can have fun. It's been a while I've done correctional officers then. So I will stay a bit longer on TikTok, right? So I have like 30 minutes more to finish on Facebook, YouTube. After that, I'm coming back here, right? On TikTok. If nobody cares, one thing about the sectarians, they hate me so much. When I do live lectures, they come and watch me. When I put my videos, they comment. I have a one guy who comments on my videos. He has actually been given the award of a top fan on TikTok. He never misses my video, but the guy hates me every day. He has to comment on my video. I don't know why. Seriously. Can you hate, for example, if you hate a lady, will you just keep seeing her every day? Trying to, interact, talk, you hate her. But so I'm just giving you the example. If you hate my videos, you hate me. Why are you always commenting and trying to, I don't understand. So it shows that what I'm saying, you find the truth in there, but you just don't like the idea that is coming from me. Look at somebody's stupid question. The person his name is what? Katani Jallo. He says, do you even understand the Quran? Look at the question. Hey, mushrikanga. Hey. LV Gongoli says, who is the one talking in Quran chapter 19, verse 64? Let's go and check. Quran chapter 19, verse 64. This is the verse on the screen. It says, and we do not come down except by the command of your Lord. It is the angel speaking in that verse. You can see I put the bracket just to make it easy for you to understand the context. And we, the angels, do not come down except by the command of your Lord. To him belongs what is before us and what is behind us, and whatever is between, and your Lord is not forgetful, right? Then it continues, Lord of the heavens and the earth and whatever is between them. So worship him and be patient for his worship. Do you know a namesake to him? No, we don't know, right? And the human being says, when I have died, will I be brought forth alive? Yes, you will be brought back alive. So LV Gongoli, the verse is talking about the angels, right? Yeah, no problem, Maruf. I see your this thing. I see your correction. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to check to see any question I've missed, right? So I can address it. The Rocky Balboa says, Shoaib, could you explain Surah Mumin, verse 6? Who are the Awma Malakat Aymanikum or Manikum? So let me go to that verse, right? He says I should explain Quran chapter 23, verse 6. So let's see what the verse says. So the brother was asking a question. He says, I should explain verse 6. Now, verse 6 starts with the context of verse, you start from verse 5, right? So, chapter 23, verse 5, it says, the believers are those who guard their private parts, right? They guard, meaning their private parts. They don't just misuse it anyhow, right? We have people who cannot guard their private part. They just want to sleep with any woman they see on earth. I'm talking about men, right? The context is talking about believing men. We have people who just want to sleep with any woman they see on earth, right? Verse 6, except for their spouses, right? Or those their right hands possess, then indeed they are not to be blamed, right? Okay, so the person is asking that apart from their spouses, who are the right hand possessed? Now, what people don't usually understand, when we say malakat aymani, it doesn't mean your slaves. It does not mean your slaves. However, the sectarians have given people the notion that when it says malakat aymani, it means the slaves. Remember, the malakat aymani, they are also supposed to be married. You have to marry them with the permission of their family. So if it is a slave, why do you need permission of a family? If malakat aymani, if they are slaves, why do you need a permission of a family to marry her? No, it's just a young woman. When we say young woman in this age, we are talking about the ladies who are just 18, 19, 20, around that age. That is a young woman. And I'm going to explain to you using the Quranic verses to understand who are the malakat aymani. It is not about slaves, right? Okay. So first of all, I take you to Quran chapter 4, verse 20. Let's go to verse 25. If you go to Quran chapter 4, verse 25, we are going to see that Ma Malakat Aimani, when we say they are the women which your oath, and not only women. Ma Malakat Aimani, even women can have Malakat Aimani. A woman can marry a young man who is a Malakat Aimani as well, but she has to marry him with the permission of her family, of his family also. Right? Now here, verse 25. It says, and whoever among you cannot afford to marry chaste believing women, if you cannot afford to marry a woman, a believing woman, a chaste believing woman, then from those your right hands possess. Listen to the grammar here. If you cannot afford to marry a chaste believing woman, then what do you have to do? Then you have to marry from those your right hands, meaning your oath. Aiman, it means your oath. What you have sworn to, take care of. From your oath, right? From those your right hands possess among your young believing women. Do you see? Then he says, God is aware of your faith. You are of each other. So marry them. Marry who? The young believing women who your oath possess, that you have sworn to take care of them. Those Malakat Aimani, they are the ones you swear by oath to take care of such a person. Malakat Aimani, they are the ones you swear by oath to take care of such a person. So marry them by the permission of their family. So Malakat Aimani, they are not slaves where you can say you can just take them as concubine and sleep with them. No, you are a fool to think the Quran actually propagates this kind of obscenity. You are the biggest fool. You are a bozo to think Ma Malakat Aimani is talking about slaves. You are the dumbest, foolish person ever on earth. I'm serious. I know people who upload such a belief. They will say Ma Malakat Aimani means slaves. You are dumb. You are a fool. You are a bozo. You are a miscreant. You are a dummy. Okay. So then God says, marry them by the permission of their family. So you need a permission from the family of such a person who is possessed by the what? The oath, your right hand. And give them their fees. So Ma Malakat Aimani, the reason is their position is different from a normal woman. When I say normal, I'm not talking about abnormality, but I'm talking about a chaste believing woman. Her position is different from the one your oath possess. They have different ranks. And that is why Quran chapter 23 verse 6 talks about your spouses and then those your oath possess, your right hand possess. It categorizes it into two, but that doesn't mean you don't marry both sides. You can marry your spouse, is somebody you married. At the same time, Malakat Aimani is somebody you married, but it's a young woman. So there's a difference between when you are dealing with a matured woman, like a matured woman, and when you're dealing with a young woman. There's always a difference. So Quran chapter 4 verse 25 is telling you, and whoever among you cannot afford to marry a chaste believing woman, then from those your oath, that is your right hands, possess among your young believing women. God is aware of your faith. You are of each other. Then he says, so marry them by the permission of their family and give them their fees in the service of chaste women, not as fornicators, nor to be taken as secret lovers. So listen, you are not supposed to take Malakat Aimani as concubines. You are not supposed to take them for fornication. You are not supposed to take them as secret lovers. So which kind of foolish scholars are telling you that Malakat Aimani is talking about the slaves? What? And God is giving you this legislation here? Your Malakat Aimani, they are not supposed to be taken for fornication. They are not to be taken as a secret lover. You have to give them their fees in order to marry them. And you have to marry them by the permission of their family. So Ma Malakat Aimani is not about slaves. I repeat, you are the dumbest fool ever on earth to think Ma Malakat Aimani is talking about a slave. You are the dumbest fool ever. And if you are a mushrik, you are even the worst. Okay. Then it continues. And when they are married, this mamalakat aymani, when they are finally married, listen, then if they commit adultery, then upon them is half of the punishment which is upon chaste women. You see, the verse starting above is talking about, well, whoever, and whoever among you cannot afford to marry a chaste believing woman, that is the chaste believing women, their rank is different from the ones your oath possess. The ones your oath possess is the mamalakat, I mean, your right hand means somebody you swear by oath to take care of her. Those are the ones your right hand possess by law, by swearing, by oath. It's not a slave. So this person you are taking care of, sometimes you can be taking care of a woman. She will go to school. She'll find education. She'll become a good lady. And then you feel like, wow, I've taken care of this lady. Now she's good for slaughtering. When I say slaughtering, you understand, yeah? In my country, in Ghana, when a lady reaches the age of maturity, right, and she's well endowed, we use the word, hey, takailaya means she's ready for slaughtering, in terms of not killing, slaughtering in terms of to be, for copulation. So imagine you rightfully possessing a lady that you are taking care of. You swear that you take care of her. Let's say her father is deceased, but her mother is alive, but you are the one taking care of the lady financially or something. So you swear to take care of her. Now, whilst you're taking care of her, you felt like, I need a wife. But then you look on the side, she's matured, she's ready to be married. And you're like, she's ready for harvest. So what do? Is you go to the family, and then you pay the fees to marry her by the permission of her family. So then you tell the family, okay, finally, this lady I'm taking care of, my right hand possess, I want to marry her. So you have to pay the fees. She's not to be taken for fornication. She's not to be taken for secret lover. You have to marry her. But finally, when you marry her, because she's a young lady, right, a young woman, this young woman, when she commits adultery in the house of marriage, what needs to be done is she is not to be punished the same level as a really matured woman will be punished. No, there are different levels of punishment. So this matured woman can be punished 100 lashes if she commit adultery. But this woman, this lady, young lady, she's only to be punished half of the 100 lashes. So that is 50. So if the foolish mushriks are telling you the punishment for adultery is stoning to death, please, how do you kill somebody in half? What is the half punishment for death? If your garbage book says if somebody commits adultery, you should kill them, stone them and kill them. And now God is saying the mamalakat aymani, their punishment is half. How do you kill somebody in halfway, that they don't die or they die? How? I don't understand. So you have to stone the person to coma. Afalata Kilo wrote. He says, meaning you have to stone. You stone her to coma, then then she'll wake up after one. Hey. So let's continue. So God says now she has half punishment, which is upon a chaste woman. Then God says that is for whoever fears distress among you. But to be patient is better for you, and God is forgiving and merciful. So now again, we go to Quran chapter 24, verse 33. We are still trying to understand who are the mamalakat aymani. So from today, I want this argument buried and sealed forever and ever. Listen carefully. Okay, so Quran chapter 24, verse 33. Then God says, and let those who do not find marriage refrain. If you are searching for marriage, you keep searching on the market and you don't get, refrain. Then refrain until God enriches them from his favor. Then he says, and those who seek the registration, when we talk about, that's why we have magistrate. Magistrate is in some of the developing countries. If you are taking a lady up for marriage, you can go to the magistrate and register your marriage that officially I'm with this lady. I'm married to this lady. So they will put it in the records. But at the time of the prophet was supposed to stand as the magistrate, where when somebody has to go and marry, when he's interested in a lady, they will register and put it in the record. So they will register that, hey, babashuaib wants to marry this lady. So we are putting it in the records. So now he is legally possessing her in marriage. So listen to the verse, chapter 24, verse 33. And those who seek the registration of those your right hands possess. So now, if you legally possess a lady by oath, that it doesn't mean you are married, you just taking care of her. Then now God says, hence register them if you know any good in them. So you register this man who is interested in this malakat aimani that you have, right? The ones you swear by oath you are going to take care of her. If somebody else who is a good person comes to say, I need her for marriage, this young lady you have, you can marry them. So then God says, and give them from the wealth of God which he has given you. So if somebody is interested in this lady, you can now sponsor them, because maybe he doesn't have enough money to marry a really matured woman. He needed a young lady. I'm going to give an example. Imagine going to slaughter a cow, a young cow and an adult cow. Which one is more befitting for slaughtering? When you slaughter an adult cow, you get enough meat. When you slaughter a young cow, because it's now being bred, its breed is now like still growing, the process of becoming mature, it's not really in the position where you can enjoy the meat to the fullest. So which one becomes more expensive? The adult one becomes more expensive to acquire, whilst the one now on the way becoming an adult becomes less expensive. Do you understand my point? So you save enough money and you save enough strength in seeking for a malakat aimani. This malakat aimani is someone is already taking care of her, but she is not fully like in the level of this, really matured woman. So she is in the process of as a young woman, but not a girl, not like a kid. No, she's ready, but not in the same age as a really matured woman. You understand? Who is upon herself. So, and those who seek the registration of those your right hands or your oath possess, hence register them if you know any good in them, and give them from the wealth of God which he has given you. And do not compel your young girls, meaning your young women, don't compel them into what? Prostitution. This is what a lot of people do. They have young ladies at home, they push them to prostitution. When any man comes to park a car, a nice car, they are like, go to him. This man is rich. Go, 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 go. You are a nice lady. Go, go. He will take you home. You understand? A lot of parents do that, especially in Africa. I know about this. A lot of parents do that. They will push the lady to this rich guy, whilst the guy will be sleeping with her and everything, bringing money at home, and then you understand? So God says, and do not compel your young girls into prostitution in order to seek the exhibition of the worldly life. Then God says, if they desire to be what? To be chaste. Because when a lady is chaste and she becomes mature, she has more value than a lady who is not chaste till she mature. So chastity is very important for women. Imagine going to buy a used car. A used car, the value on the market is down. But a car which has not been used, brand new car, the value on the market is high. So that is why God is actually suggesting you, advising you to let your young ladies remain chaste. Because when they grow, the value is higher. But when a woman has been used, you imagine a car which has been used about 10 drivers already using the car, and then you put it on the market for sale. Somebody will just ask you, how much distance has it been used? How much if you say it has been used for 200,000 kilometers, what happens? The value goes down. Do you understand what I'm saying? And similarly, when you go to the market, you go to the shop and they are selling a product, you don't like the one people have touched several times. You always want the one which is untouched, fresh. So you want to take it, the value is high. You want to pay full price for it. But because the one people have touched a lot, it's exhausted, you You understand? You bargain because you'll be like, Charlie, this one it doesn't enfoul. It's too he's been used too much. So let me give some cheaper price. You understand? Okay. So I hope it's making sense. Let's continue. Then God says, if they decide to be chaste, and whoever compels them, then indeed God, after their compulsion, is forgiving and merciful. So based on Quran chapter 4, verse 25, and Quran chapter 24, verse 33, draw the conclusions here that ma malakat aymanikum or aymanihim is not talking about slaves. It is talking about the ladies which your oath, your right hand possess legally as the caretakers, meaning you are taking care of such a lady, but then it can happen that you decide to marry her, or it can happen that you want to give her hand in marriage to somebody else. You understand? Okay. So that explains that question. So this part, I'll try to trim it and then put it so people will get to understand the notion of ma malakat aymani. It has nothing to do with slavery or slaves. It is about those your right hand possess by oath, right? Legally. So it is not about. Somebody is asking, haram to drink breast milk from your wife? No, from your wife, there's no problem. God never said it's haram. You have your wife. There's nowhere God says. So I'm going to give you the verse. Quran chapter 2, verse 222. Quran chapter 2, verse 223. God says, your women are a cultivation for you. So approach your cultivation however you will and present for yourselves. And beware of God and know that you will meet him and give good news to the believers. So now, let's analyze this verse. Somebody is asking, is it haram to drink breast milk from your wife? I wouldn't advise that. You don't need the breast milk. But anyways, it is not haram. Why is it not haram? Let's see. Quran chapter 2, verse 223. Your women are a cultivation for you. So approach your cultivation however you will and present for yourselves. And beware of God and know that you will meet him and give good news to the believers. So it's your wife. You just decide with her. If she's okay for you to drink her milk, that's up to you because you are married to her. If she's okay with it, fine. That's up to you. Right? So there's nothing wrong. God never said it's haram. That's up to you. Right? So, hey, Ibrahim Sumail, I see you. Ismail Naganka, I see you, bro. Yeah, thank you very much. Marul Khalif, thank you. Almost, that's the question. How do you have kill? Yes. Oh, Samsam, I didn't see your question. What was your question? I might have skipped it. Okay, Samsam says, what is allowed and what is not allowed during intercourse? Many a times you see the scholars saying, oh, there's no such thing as oral sex. Oral sex is haram. God never said oral sex is haram. However, if you want to do oral sex with a dirty partner, that's up to you. So please be advised. You want to do oral sex and you are married, please make sure your partner is clean, right? Fine. That's up to you. God never said it's haram. Anyway, anyhow you want to have copulation with your wives or your husbands, that's up to you. God never said it's haram. Remember, Quran chapter 16, verse 116. God says, and do not say a lie by what your tongues describe. This is lawful and this is unlawful. To fabricate a lie about God. Indeed, those who fabricate falsehood about God will not succeed. So in this issue, we have people who just go to the extent and say, this is haram, this is halal, this is the point is, where did God say it's haram? You understand? Salam, Adam Abdullah Rahim. Where does God say this is haram? If any scholar tells you this is haram, that is haram, just tell no problem. Akhi, give me a verse. That is it. Where did God say this is haram? Simple. Then they will start, hey, you know, there's one hadith at the prophet time. It tells us the prophet, he's sleeping with his wife. So you guys have cameras and everything. When the prophet is sleeping with your wives, you go, his wives, you go and record him, right? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've done 2 hours. I think it's enough. Although I'll be staying a bit on TikTok for a bit before I go get some sleep, right? I'll be going to TikTok. So if you want to join the fun, in case I'm bringing people on for correctional officers, then you are welcome. But I'll be ending on Facebook, YouTube, so that people will get the chance to re-watch. So for those on TikTok, if you want to re-watch this lecture, again, it will be on my Facebook and YouTube channel, Bush2Jinai. You can go there and watch and re-watch the program again, right? I don't know if I've missed any question, but sometimes I do, I do miss some questions, right? I try my best to answer most of the questions I see. If I don't see, it is not my, doing. But let me see. Somebody asked about Quran chapter 17, verse 58. Quran chapter 17, verse 58. It says, and there is not a town by which we will annihilate it before the day of resurrection or punish it with a severe punishment that has been jotted down in the register. So that is a promise from God. LV Gongoli. God is saying that there is not a town, but we will annihilate it before the resurrection, the day of resurrection, or punish it. So which means the people will do a lot of corruption. So God will punish it with a severe punishment that has been jotted down in the register. So that is why in Quran chapter 17, verse 15, God says, in this verse, it says, وَمَا كُنَّا مُؤَذِّبِينَ أَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا, and we do not punish until we have sent a messenger, right? So that is why in Quran chapter 10, verse 46 to verse 48, it says, وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولٌ, every ummah will have a messenger. We are not talking about a prophet, a messenger, Rasul, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, Sister Nazca says, why would a man want to drink breast milk for his wife? It is for the baby you drink most of. Already have your mom's breast milk. Yes, Nazcan, I agree with you. Why would a man want to drink the wife's breast milk? It's for the child, right? I agree. But however, if the couples have decided that the man can drink, that's up to them. You understand? Some things are nonsensical, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is haram. But if it is stated as haram, then it's haram. But if it's not haram, it's a choice between the man and the woman. If they decide that, that's up to them, right? So far as it is not somebody else's milk you're drinking. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to answer the last question from Facebook, YouTube before I end, right? Momade Pedro says, I have a question. Was the Prophet Muhammad the first prophet and only prophet sent to the Arabs? I mean, didn't Arabs get in contact with any of prophets before Muhammad was sent to them? Your answer is found in Quran chapter 34, verse 44. This is what God says concerning the Arabs. He says, and we did not give them, the Arabs, any books which they could study, nor did we send any warner to them before you, right? So God never sent any warner to them before Muhammad. He never sent, right? So that is why in Quran chapter 36, verse 6, in Quran chapter 36, verse 6, God says, لِتُنْزِرَ قَوْمًا مَا أُنْزِرَ آبَاؤُهُمْ فَهُمْ غَافِلُونَ, so that you may warn a people whose fathers were not warned, so they are unaware, right? So they were totally unaware. They never received prophets among them or any message from God, right? So the prophet for the children of Israel, remember, when somebody is a prophet, he's only a prophet for his people, right? If it's a messenger, then the messengership can extend to everybody. Like Muhammad alayhi salam, his duty as a messenger is for all of mankind. Quran chapter 7, verse 158, where he says, Ya ayyuhan nas inni rasulullahi ilaykum jami'an. Right? So Prophet Muhammad was a messenger for all people, but as a prophet, he was only limited to his people. Right? Okay. Yes, messengers will still come, but not prophets. Messengers are still coming. It is stated in Quran chapter 10, verse 46 to verse 48, and also Quran chapter 7, verse 35, where God says, O children of Adam, if messengers come to you from among yourself, narrating my verses to you, whoever will reform and what reference, right, then they will have no fear or grief, right? So messengers will still come to narrate the verses of God to the people. Somebody says, is it haram to sleep naked? No, it is not haram. God never said it is haram to sleep naked. You want to sleep naked, that's up to you. You are in your own house, sleep naked if you want. There's nothing wrong with that. You were born naked, right? You were born, you came out of your mother's belly, you were naked. You want to sleep naked on your bed, that's up to you. Nothing is wrong with that. No. When Abraham was on that land, there was no Arabs. You go to Quran chapter 14, verse 37, right? There was no Arabs there. There were no Arabs there when Abraham was there, right? So, and Abraham wasn't sent to that people, right? It was only after he set out the foundations, he made a supplication to God and said that let the people of that place incline to God, right? So, let me put the verse on the screen. Quran chapter 14, verse 37. This is what Abraham said. He says, our Lord, indeed, I have settled some of my offspring in the valley without planting near your sacred house. Our Lord, so that they may establish the salat, so make the minds of the people incline to them and provide them with fruits. Perhaps they will be thankful. Right? Our Lord, indeed, you know what we conceal and what we declare. There is nothing hidden from God on earth, nor in the heaven. So that is verse. Quran chapter 14, verse 37, right? So ladies and gentlemen, this is where I bring the topic to an end. This is the question and answer section for Facebook, YouTube Live, and I'm bringing it to an end. Thank you very much. For those on TikTok, I'm going to stay a bit longer to allow some people to hop on. Then we can have some question and answer. Samsam says, haram to drink Aisha. I don't understand. Samsam, what question are you asking me? What kind of question is that? You're asking me about what? You said haram to drink Aisha breast milk. What kind of question is that? Please, let's be serious. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Last question. Somebody says, what is the difference between Iblis and Shaitan? Now, Iblis is his name, right? Shaitan is the character. Even a human being can become a Shaitan, right? According to Quran chapter 6, verse 112, we have Shayateen among the humans and the jinns. So Shayateen is a character which you inherit, right? Iblis is his name, the name that he owns, just like Adam has a name. So Iblis is a name, but Shaitan is your characteristics, the character he is embedded with. So he inherited this character, and that is what made him Shaitan. So he has been evil throughout, and that's why he's called the devil, Shaitan. So the word as Shaitan means the devil, right? So that's the difference between the names. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. For those on Facebook or YouTube, this is where I bring the topic to an end. Until we meet again, hopefully maybe Saturday, I'll be on JC Radio. Let's see what happens. If not, we meet again next week, God willing. So whoever wants to rewatch the program, you can rewatch it and enjoy the program. But however, if you want to enjoy the correctional officers, then you can join me on TikTok. I'll be on TikTok for a bit before I go to sleep, right? So thank you for your time. Those on Facebook and YouTube, I appreciate your presence. Till we meet again, this is where I bring the topic to an end. Thank you all. Love you all. Peace.